Hello, can you introduce yourself for us, please?
Hi there, my name is Jodi Pelot from Central Wisconsin, and I have a 15-year-old daughter with CVS.
And Jodi, how long has your daughter had CVS?
She has had CVS since she was 6 months old.
And when was she diagnosed?
She was diagnosed of June 2015 by Dr. Lee in Milwaukee.
And were there other diagnoses that were given to her before CVS?
There were absolutely none. There were tons of tests given. Everything came out normal. They just would tell me that, nope, she just has that tummy where you never know what's going on. So she never had any other diagnoses.
And so if I do my math right, she was about 10 when she was diagnosed?
Correct.
Okay, so she went quite a few years without you
Yep.
really knowing what was going on.
Yes.
And can you describe what her typical episode looks like?
At this time, at the age of 15, her episodes have evolved to mostly abdominal migraines. It's a pain in her upper abdomen that she usually lays in a fetal position. If she can stand up, she lays in the bathroom, waiting for it to become time to vomit. At that point, then it's generally a dry heaving. Otherwise, it's that pain and her in a fetal position in her bedroom for days at a time. So her episodes really have evolved over the years, and this is how it is now since puberty hit, probably when she was about 13.
And what did it look like before she hit puberty?
Between 5 and 10, it would be her getting up in the middle of the night. I guess the way I used to explain it is, you know how a little kid would get up in the morning and, they get up and be like, Mommy, I'm going to go potty. She never did that. She was like, Mom, I'm going to go puke now. And she would puke in the morning, sit there for about 15 minutes, puke, and then get up and we would get ready for the day. It became so normal that instead of waking us up, here this little 5-year-old is just going in the restroom in the morning, puking, and then preparing herself for the day. And then as she got a little older, she must have been too exhausted. She just started puking in bed. We would try to get her bowls, and that she must have been doing it in her sleep, I assume. So it took a lot of time. We ended up bringing her her bedroom back downstairs, having her sleep on the floor next to us. So I gotta say, me and my husband really didn't have a room to ourselves for a while. Before she was 5, it was all triggered by emotion, excitement, birthday parties, holidays, because she couldn't verbalize anything. It was just anxiety. You knew when it was gonna come. We didn't know why it was always coming, but I don't know. In even motion sickness, even now, we have our travel caddy that either we could drive from the end of the driveway and she would puke, or we could drive 30 miles and she would puke, or we could go 60 miles and she'd be just fine. I mean, that was never ever something we could count on. So we just took breaks along the way. There were so many different kinds of episodes that she has that we just had them all written down in notebooks and just knew that anything was possible. But we knew something was coming one way or another.
And how frequent usually are her episodes? I'm sure that's probably changed a little bit over time as well.
Okay, so with her last episodes, with just the abdominal pain. That has been 3 years constant. She has been on medicine, but we've tried to get her into school, and she's made it a few weeks each school year, but then has gone virtual. Again, she has gone virtual about 2 or 3 weeks ago. We were with Dr. Kovacic for a clinical trial, and once that was over, things went downhill. So, yes, she's been having her recent kind of episodes for the last 3 years.
That sounds like a tough situation. The clinical trial you were in, was that for the auricular neurostimulation device?
Yes, it was.
And did that seem to help her?
It was amazing. It was beyond amazing. I had a different child. She could get out of bed. She was able to go outside. Her mental health was better. She was a part of the group. And then after that, 6 weeks, about 2 weeks after, something just happened. And the effects were gone. And that damn CVS was back. And it's been hard because we just ended the trial early October, so it's really fresh.
That's really hard, and I hope that they're able to offer the neurostimulation device soon. I know that's you're not the only one that has said that it has kind of changed their child's life. So
it's amazing.
If there was one CVS symptom you could get rid of for your daughter, what would it be?
Me personally, I would want to take away the depression, the mental anguish. I talked to her about this, and her answer was the pain. But I would take away the depression. So I don't, but she wants the pain away, obviously.
Yeah, for sure. What would you like people who don't understand CVS to know about living with CVS?
That it's real. We're not making this up. It's not something we will go around saying because we want attention. We're not pretending. It's a chronic illness that eats you up from the inside out, physically and emotionally. And it is just so real that, I mean, it's just like having cancer, but you can't see it. It's a cancer on the inside you cannot see.
It's a good description. What would you tell a newly diagnosed patient or family, or even someone maybe that's not diagnosed, but they're kind of just on their journey trying to get diagnosed?
I thought long and hard about this question, and I don't know that there's a right answer because we've gone through it so long. All I can think about is the negative effects, and all I can do is I would tell them to be strong and to hold each other tight, and that they can get through this, and they need to advocate for their child, for themselves. They need to push for those tests or that medication. Don't give up. It is agony to go through. It's agony to see. But the times when they are well or she is well and you get those doctors to actually listen to you is amazing. And when you find that doctor that listens to you, they're your guardian angel. So you just have to advocate.
Definitely good advice. How do you feel CVS has impacted not only your daughter's life, but also your whole family's life?
A lot, and I don't blame her. And I know she's in the other room, and I don't want her to think it's take any blame. But since she was little, we've never traveled. We've always stayed home. If we did travel, we did one time. We did it at night when we knew she would fall asleep, and then we would like bummed around Green Bay and Bay Beach, but that's one thing we've never done. We've never traveled, and she mentions that she's never been out of the state of Wisconsin, and we joke about it. And sadly, the only time we've been out of the state was to go to Mayo Clinic for CVS. And sadly, that was a dead end, but that was the only time. I would say that's the biggest impact is allowing our family to travel and see we wouldn't really see the world, we would see the state or the region. So I think that's the biggest impact it's been on our lives, along with school and work. There's a lot of FMLA involved, and work and school don't understand things like CVS, but thank goodness for FMLA and school counselors.
Most definitely. And what about, do you feel like your daughter has been able to have a social life with having CVS?
Zero. Absolutely zero. It's been so long. She's been in online school for so long. She has friends, but they don't really talk really on social media. She's not really into social media. She likes to read and do video games and write, and she started a good group of friends when she went back to school this year as a sophomore, and she was excited because she wasn't eating lunch alone. And then that blow came when we had to come back home, and no. So it's hard. It's really hard for her.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can definitely imagine. Did CVSA help you? And if so, how?
CVSA helped me by finding Dr. Lee. Let's see, we didn't find him till she was 9 or 10. So for 9 years, I tried Googling vomiting all the time, vomiting, anything to do with vomiting, but nothing would come up. Repeating vomiting all the time, vomiting. And finally something came up called cyclic vomiting. And I had no idea what the word cyclic meant. I was young. I was a young mom, and I'm like, that's the weirdest word I've ever heard of. So I went on this website, and I mean, it looked like it was starting out as well, but everything made sense, and it just made everything real. CVSA made me realize I'm not out of my mind crazy. CVSA brought me to Dr. Lee. It brought me more information. It I remember when I saw a Run for the Bucket challenge that I've never been in, but I thought that was the most amazing thing. It's just so positive, and now with it on Facebook and in social media, it's just so great to be a part of it. I try to share it with family. They don't really understand, but but once I found it, I knew there had to be some sort of hope. So when I found that, that would have been about, I don't know when it was. It was when she was 9 or 10, but it was life-saving.
That's awesome. You got me starting to tear up now too. It's always amazing to me, like, even though you've been going through it so long, how raw the feelings still are.
Very.
Yeah. If you could just use one word to describe CVS, what would it be?
One word. I'm going to use the word my daughter gave me. I talked to her about this interview and tried to get her involved, and she doesn't like talking about it. And the one word she gave was suffering. And that hurt.
Yeah.
It hurt.
It's really hard to see your kiddos suffer, for sure. Jodi, is there anything else you want to share about your daughter's story or about CVS or about anything else we didn't talk about?
I just, advocating is the biggest thing to do if this is going to be seen by people that are starting out, or by anybody who thinks, wow, what is my kid vomits all the time. Well, this might be it. You need to advocate. You might need to call your doctor and demand maybe ultrasounds or CT scans or a colonoscopy or something. You need to advocate for your child and keep looking. I was so devastated when Mayo Clinic said, nope, sorry, they've done everything they could for you in Wisconsin Rapids, so that's it. But I knew Dr. Lee retired, and I knew somebody replaced him, and when you have a kid with CVS, you need to keep searching. And when I found Dr. Kovacic, it was the most amazing thing ever. So please don't ever give up on yourself. I think as a caregiver, that's hard. Don't give up on yourself or your child. Just keep advocating. You think that's it?